Just call me Hawk. Good evening, my subscribers, fellow South Africans, friends, family, world at large, all humanity. Before I begin this video, please may I ask you to subscribe to my channel, hit the thumbs up for like, and more likes, more views, ring the bell icon so you can be notified of upcoming videos. The content of this video might touch your soul, so please share and share again. The Hawk brings you nothing but the truth. The world needs the truth. Donations are greatly appreciated if you try to help so many South Africans with my own funds. But donations are needed now for many in South Africa of all races. Here's the donation link in blue. Be sure you're not unsubscribed. Please note I operate under the fair use and fair dealings guidelines. Any video clip or any that have been found on this public domain and copyright link to the clip may be found in the description below. Please click the link and enjoy the full video if mentioned in the video. All views expressed are purely my own and based on extensive research. I urge everybody to do their own research on the topic being discussed in this video. Good evening, everybody. This is the Hawk again. Today I want to talk about a very serious issue. I'm going to show you video clips, one after the other, going back to when Mandela was released back in the 90s. I will show you the truth of the African National Congress. I will show you the mindset of the people of South Africa and what has happened since Zuma, the president of South Africa, took place, and his demise of being arrested, but the culture that he left behind, and the rhetoric and the nightmare of 25 years. Now with this little idiot, and I call him an idiot because he's either a racist, he's very smart, or he's deliberately ignoring what's going on, or he's being led by the normal people from outside to corrupt the people that are inside, blame white people, blame minorities for their incompetence, to gain power, to nationalize everything, only to find nothing. I'm going to show you video clip after video clip what you're looking at. Now the first clip you're going to see is Mandela being interviewed in New York when he first was released from prison. And he supports there, as the African National Congress still support terrorist organizations. They're in full support of Iran. They have over 46 ISIS, Hamas, Al-Qaeda, and Iranian affiliates in South Africa. Nothing has changed since 1990. And the writing was on the wall then when Mandela said, "Don't tell me how to run my country, and I won't tell you how to run yours," in his own words. And many of the black people in America was in that crowd, jumped up and clapped and thought it was great that he was saying this. But what they did not realize, he was not their friend. He was actually their enemy. Will we forget 9/11? All the Muslim extremist attacks in the United States. Numerous attacks on our people all throughout the world. Mandela was one of them. And you gave him the Nobel Peace Prize. But listen to this video. Listen to his voice. Listen to his words. They were not a man of peace.
You all wanted it. And now you have another one. You have Ramaphosa, who's systematically orchestrated a document from 1993 which stated they were going to boil the white people like frogs in boiled water. They won't know they're dying as they're boiled to death. That's exactly what they do. And so the excuse that the white people of South Africa are the fault for the demise of the black people is an absolute lie. I agree that a small percentage of racists in South Africa were responsible for what we had as an apartheid group. But 99% of the whites of South Africa just wanted to live in peace just like everybody else in the world. And because of the incompetence of the South African government over the last 24 years, blame is always put on white people. These people were born in that country. They do not control banks. The banks are controlled from outside the country. The Oppenheimers, the De Beers, the Rockefellers, the central banks control the money. They control everything. They own most of the mining industries. They most of the infrastructure. Somehow, the Eskom got in the hands of the government, and through corruption as usual, it's collapsed. There's now a report that similar to this, Zimbabwe will now have the yen and be controlled by the Chinese almost to the point of governing them, which is colonialism. It's not communism, it's colonialism. It's slavery. You now become their slaves. This will continue to happen in South Africa. And numerous African countries are going that way. Now, let me go back to what I was saying. In the first video, see Mandela actually supporting terrorist organizations like the PLO, Yasser Arafat, the Libyan government, and the Cuban government, all communist organizations, and numerous others that we know about. And you all thought this man was from peace. South Africa is now a breeding ground for terrorist organizations who are not in support of the United States, who sends them over $100 million in aid a year. The government has systematically put over 164 laws that do not allow whites to have jobs. They discriminate with BEE laws, which are discriminative against minorities because of the color of their skin. They excuse that crime is responsible for all the farm murders and that. I must beg to differ. The rhetoric of the politicians, and you will see it in this video, indicate what they are doing. They're inciting the crowds to get votes at the demise of their own citizens who happen to be white. Now, these same citizens were victims of a government from before and the victims of another government, the British government, before that. Every child born in Africa, irrespective of color, is a citizen of that land. Now, 90%, more than 99.9% of the whites in South Africa were not responsible for apartheid. They were victims of a system. How do I know? I was born there. And during that time, there was no internet. There was no information. It was all controlled by the government. Similar to what is happening now in South Africa, nothing changed. It just went from a white government to a black one. But the difference between the two, one wasn't as badly corrupt as the other. Now you have politicians like Julius Malema who are running around screaming, kill white people. Andile Masatama from the BLF, Black Land, First Land, same, absolute racists. They think Africa belongs just to black people. We'll forget that almost 50% of Africa is Arabs. They are also the minority. It's an arrogant thought to think that Africa just belongs to black people. If that is the case, then the rest of the world should abandon Africa and leave them to their own demise, which will not be long. They do not understand that people come first, not colors, not races, not tribes, but people of all colors. The world is a big place now. Everybody knows everything. We are in the 21st century, and this old rhetoric needs to go away. In this video, you will see Jason Bartlett walking from Texas to the White House to hopefully meet with President Trump when he gets to the White House, to explain the pleas of his people who are being persecuted, and they have been persecuted from the day they can remember. They came to Africa and were abandoned by the Dutch. They then moved inland because the British took over. And when they did go inland, they decided to make deals with the black populations that were up there, only to have the British government find out that there was gold, diamonds, everything you can think of except oil. So they tried to annex it. And these people fought them off. And now they're being persecuted again. These people are not responsible for history. They merely want to live in peace. Now the issue of land. I agree. Land needs to be distributed to everybody. But in 25 years, the government has done nothing but steal land. They own more than 75% of the land that is available for people, and they have not given it out because they've tried to keep it for themselves. They have not developed the land. They've put the money in their pockets. Now, these politicians running around blaming white people for the issues that are going on in South Africa is a lie. And the reason it's a lie is because they are the excuse to get votes at the expense of lives and irresponsible behavior of politicians that affect the lives of many, many people. Now, is it true that black people are being attacked and raped and murdered every single day? That is a fact. But percentage-wise, whites are more attacked than blacks, on per average. That is a fact. South Africa is the capital, murder capital of the world, and the rape capital of the world. These politicians are not dealing with this issue. Now, is there unemployment? There's massive unemployment. But when you cut off every white man in the country so he can't create work, why would you do that? Why blame the whites when you know it's the bankers that are not allowing you money? So they want to nationalize the banks. They want to nationalize the Central Bank of South Africa. What point will this be? You know for a fact, the minute they do this, there'll be no money left in the bank. They'll steal it themselves and run away. This is politicians of Africa. Now the man screaming the most about this is Julius Malema. The same Malema who got himself in trouble the other day for having his hand in the VBS bank. Also having to sell half of his properties because he didn't pay his taxes. And these ain't little properties. These are billions of rand properties. He didn't just go move into a little place. He bought millions of dollars of rent of properties. Not one, many of them. They had to be sold to pay his taxes. What people don't realize is he's been controlled by Britain. People in Britain, bankers, they play in you all to sell your mineral rights to the Chinese, to the British industries and the corrupt bankers. He's always in England. I want you to think about something. Watch these videos and tell me if the white people of South Africa are not being persecuted.
Who share your struggle for human rights and against apartheid have been somewhat disappointed by the models of human rights that you have held up since being released from jail. You've met over the last 6 months 3 times with Yasser Arafat. Are these your models of leaders of human rights? And if so, would you want a Gaddafi or an Arafat or a Castro to be a future president of South Africa?
One of the mistakes which some political analysts make is to think that their enemies should be our enemies. Our attitude towards any country is determined by the attitude of that country to our struggle. Yasser Arafat, Colonel Gaddafi, Fidel Castro support our struggle to the hilt. They do not support it only in rhetoric. They are placing resources at our disposal for us to win this fight.
I think I would be dishonest if I did not express profound disappointment with the answer that Mr. Mandela gave to the previous question, because it suggests a certain degree of amorality.
As far as Yasser Arafat is concerned, I explained to Mr. Sidney that we identify with the PLO because just like ourselves, they are fighting for the right of self-determination. I have also discussed the question with the Jewish leaders in the USA and very top people like Mr. Sidney. We reached an agreement on this question and we saw eye to eye. Now, I don't know where your concern arises. The Jewish leaders themselves are able to determine their own affairs. Nobody else is entitled to say that the Jewish leaders are going to be concerned about your stand. Because I have had the discussions with them, and those discussions will reach consensus. But there are matters, of course, which we did not agree. But the position which we take as the ANC, I thought we were able to explain it in such a way that it removed the concern of the Jewish community.
Let's broaden it out.
I am still prepared to do that even in this talk. If the Jewish leaders have any doubts about our stand, I am prepared to address them and to allay their concern, because they are a very important community both in South Africa and, of course, in the States. And I'm prepared to iron out any differences that might exist. But they must know what our stand is. Arafat is a comrade in arms, and we treat him as such. But for anybody who changes his principles depending on whom he is dealing, that is not a man who can lead a nation.
He has Jason Bartlett's message to you. Why must he do this? He didn't need to do this. This should never have happened. And I should not be here telling you this story either.
My name is Jason Bartlett, and I am a South African. I am a devout Christian, and on the 1st of January 2020, I embarked on a mission to walk from Texas State Capitol building in Austin to the White House in hopes to go speak to President Donald Trump about the ongoing genocide in South Africa. What is happening in South Africa is horrendous. Every day our people are suffering persecution and they are being slaughtered, and the ANC government does nothing but incite violence against our people. The laws of the Black Economic Empowerment System have been implemented, and white people can no longer get jobs based on the color of their skin. We're not allowed to work in the government, and they have even stated that they would rather leave the jobs vacant than give it to a white person. And now they have changed the Section 25 of the Constitution so that they can take away land from farmers and white people in South Africa without compensation. People like Julius Malema from the EFF constantly sing, "Kill the Boer, kill the farmer." And he has also stated that we have not called for the slaughtering of white people yet. So they are clearly inciting more violence on us. That's why the 473 attacks and 50 brutal murders last year of the white farmers needs to be brought to attention of this world. This cannot any longer go on because it is evil and it is crimes against humanity. So I ask all of you to stand up and support me as devout Christians and get behind me, and let's stop this genocide in South Africa. The ANC government can no longer incite the violence against our people as we are broken. They have taken away our culture, they have taken away our languages, and they have dehumanized us on a daily basis. Please keep us in your prayers as we suffer a constant genocide and the slaughtering of our people.
Here's Jason Bartlett walking in different places through Texas, and he gives a daily update every day.
Hello. I just wanted to say hello real quick and send a warm, hearty, big hello from Texas. The rain has just started, and I'm a little bit drenched, I would say, but not too bad, nothing I can't handle. And yeah, I just wanted to say good day to everybody from the heart of Texas. I'm got about 6 miles left to go, and it's wet. So I've just looked on my maps, and I've noticed that I've got 1,330 miles to go until I reach my destination, the White House. So I just want to ask you all to please continue to donate to the Buffalo Boer Walk via my website. My website is boerextinction.org. Thank you so much for your contributions already. I know there's a few people out there that are saying I'm grifting. For you people who don't know who a grifter is someone who walks around a corner very, very quickly. It's very much like a drifter, but people on their feet are now called grifters. So here's my reality. I'm walking to the White House in order to raise awareness and stop the genocide in South Africa and to expose the ANC for the evil that they have committed and the crimes against humanity. So please go ahead and feel free to donate on my website. May the Lord bless you. Alrighty, glory be that might have been
You must never despise people who have the same skin color with us. Their color, whether it's people from Mozambique or Angola or Nigeria or anywhere in the 54 countries in Africa, you must know you are an African because there are many others with whitish color. You don't know them. They are there, you see them all the time. But you can't say this one really well. This one comes from somewhere else. They are here in this country. They have never been attacked. And they are also so-called foreigners. But because their color is white, and you must understand why Africans must unite. Is because the West don't want Africa to come together. Imperialist forces, fascist forces, racist forces don't want to see Africans united. Because what South Africa, BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, and the entire Africa comes together, we form more than 55-60% of the world population. You know what that means? What Africa is united. We will never go to IMF. We will never back US. They know that. And that's why they want to play what they have done in the past, divide and rule. That's why even now they are pushing tribalism.
reached, we're more than ready to work with everybody to find a solution.
There's a lot of anxiety amongst white people, especially white farmers. We spoke with a white farmer who was tortured horribly. An elderly woman, drills through her feet and all sorts of horrible things. She was called horrible things while she was tortured, and they didn't take much also. Whether it was racially motivated or not, I can't tell. I'm not a detective, right? But ultimately, this woman told me that she blamed you and your rhetoric for what happened to her. So, for example, things like in Newcastle, when you said, we're not calling for the slaughtering of white people, at least not for now. Whether that's a throwaway line or not, to the crowd, this woman blamed you for opening up the gates of hatred and division and racism, and according to her, possible genocide of white people. Respond to her and tell me how you really feel.
She's a racist. You know why she hates me? She hates me because I say we must be equal to her. They hate that. The white people hate the idea that we think we can be equal to them. That's the only thing. She knows I never said there must be a white genocide. She hears me better than black people because I speak in English most of the time. She doesn't need an interpreter. She hears me very well. She knows what I mean by everything. But they hate the idea of equality. That irritates them. That a monkey can never be equal to a white man. They don't want that. I'm hated for that. There's no crime I've committed. I've never slapped a white person. I've never done anything to a single white person bad in this country. Nothing. I've never called for their slaughter. I've never called for their killing. Her torturing is crime. After interviewing her, you should have asked Mpo to give you more, or go to the police station to ask for more cases of black women in this country, how they get to be treated by their partners, by criminals. They've got more terrible story to tell than what she's telling you. They die every day. Who called for black people to be tortured like that? Who called for black people to be killed like that? Black girls to be killed like that? No one. Why are they being killed? It's crime. So, because she is white, she must not be touched. She must not be affected by crime. Anything affecting her is political. It can't be crime. It means these blacks are coming for us, which is not true. It's a false alarm. They hate me for saying we must be equal. That idea alone traumatizes them. Remember that when you are so used to having this potion and someone says, I'm bringing more people, and as a result, you must have half of it. They're like, no, man, it's not going to happen. But I don't mind it. They will get used to the idea. They will have to work themselves out of privilege. Because equality threatens privilege. They are scared that privilege is going away. That's why they hate me for that. They hate everyone who wants to liberate the mind of black people. That we are not monkeys, that we are not subhuman. We are human too, and we are equal to them. They took our land, and when they took our land, they said we don't have title deeds, because that's a requirement in terms of European standards. And if you don't have a title deed, you can be treated like an animal. Therefore, you are subhuman, because no lion can produce a title deed, although he's the king of the jungle. No elephant can produce a title deed. We are equal like elephants. We are subhuman. And anyone who says to these people, no, you are different from animals, you are human too, you too can work the land, you too can own the land, you too can employ white people, and they can work for you. They're like, he's being disrespectful, this one. He wants to elevate these people to our level. What do? They start smearing me. He's a racist. He wants to kill white people and all that. I'm bargaining. That which I'm putting on the table is the best offer to white people. Let black people too own the land. and see how much crime is going to reduce, and see how much service delivery protests are going to reduce, because people will be preoccupied with working the land. They are idling now. They don't own anything. They are waiting for employment. They are standing at the robots with qualifications. They went to school. They responded to Madiba's call that you kids must go to school. We've gone to school. There are no employment. And I'm saying to these people, the employments are not in the white people's hands. The employment is in the land. Let's get our land and let's work our land. I'm hated for that. Where? I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm saying to you, we've not called for the killing of white people, at least for now. I can't guarantee the future.
Yeah, but I mean, you'd understand somebody watching that, especially as it gets shared on Twitter, they freak out. It sounds like a genocidal call.
Cry babies. Cry babies.
I'm not calling for the slaughter of white people, at least for now.
I can't give a guarantee of the future, especially when things are going the way they are.
Subtext.
Especially if things are going the way they are, there will be a revolution in this country, I can tell you now. There will be an unled revolution. An unled revolution is the highest form of anarchy. Even me, I will be a victim of that.
We will win this revolution using any means necessary. So let me tell you something here. If you are not prepared to take guns at some point, you are in a wrong hole. Because there might be a day where the enemy makes condition necessarily for arms to be taken. And when that time comes, we will not hesitate. We will take the enemy toe to toe. We will defeat the enemy. We will never retreat. By the time we take guns, you must not say to us, hey, nenzange bama. We said to you, any means necessary to win the revolution. And we who are commanding this revolution will be engaged in activities that are going to make it possible. Some of those activities may not be exposed to the membership and the ground forces. By mistake, if you come to know about them, do not doubt the wisdom of the leadership. Trust that our leaders know what they are doing. You gave us an opportunity to lead this thing. We are leading it. And we are building it ground up. Slowly. We want to tell a story at some point when we are old, all of us in our farms, which would have taken through expropriation of land without compensation. We'll tell that story when we are sitting in our farms that Sakala Singaka. Manje Singaka. That's what we must tell. We cannot just start by being this. Easy come, easy go. We must sweat for this revolution.
If I was your president, all the tribal leaders in South Africa would be given a place as community leaders to assist in job creation, farming, helping with the communities, approaching the government for clinics, for schools in their area, for roads, and they petition these provinces, not the state, the provinces. I would change South Africa into the United States of South Africa, into a federal system that is more fair, more evenly distributed, less corrupt, and there would be peace in the land. Schools will be built every single year. Every child in the country will go to school. Clinics will be built in every town. Hospitals, fully funded, fully educated, and we will send students to get educated in South Africa as doctors and nurses. This is not happening. If I was your president, there would be initiatives to amazing things. Find clean energy, fresh water, invent things like we did before. Find a way around things, figure them out together. But I'm not your president. If I was your president, I would open trade with every single country in the world and bring in millions of dollars in investments. And every single township will be disbanded in South Africa. They will no longer be called townships. You cannot change the past, but you can change the future. Calling for racism is not your future. Solutions instead of fingers. Remember, when you point the finger, there's three looking back at you. And God, He knows the truth. Create tourism. If I was your president, Eskom would be disbanded and split up into provinces. And generation will be done in every single province, not just one company controlling the whole government, the whole country. No, it would be split up. I would promote solar power, wind power, and many other forms of generation, except atomic power, because it's too dangerous and unreliable. And in the wrong hands, it's not worth it. I would promote farming throughout Africa, starting with South Africa and spreading north, that Africa can become the breadbasket of the world. And instead of carrying weapons, you carry plows. And then the knowledge that you learn in Africa, in Southern Africa, you spread to the north. And you become the capital of Africa, instead of the criminal bankers that control everything, including the minds of these politicians and their pockets. That's what I would do as your president. As your president, every single politician will be checked for corruption. Any properties they have overseas will be confiscated and sold and the money brought back to Africa. Any corrupt politician found to be corrupt will be put in jail for life. If I was your president. But I'm not. This is the Hawk. I'm out of here. If you like my channel, please subscribe, please share, like. In the description below, there's a link to a donation section. There's a program right now where it's Farms for Kids. There's a Jason Bartlett. He also has a link there. He explains what donations. The United House of Monarchies, which is a tribal group, are trying to start farming programs. They need $10,000. And thousands and thousands and thousands of people will be able to feed themselves. Just $10,000. These people need funds. And it will create thousands of people with farming ideas. Now, there's lots of videos out there that I did on the United House of Monarchies. By creating work for these people, There's less crime. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be changed. And also this rhetoric about hatred, racism, to gain power. For what? I don't see solutions. I just see hatred. This is the Hawk. I'm out of here. Be safe out there.